Imagine someone sitting you down right now
Mhm.
and telling you that the totally accepted, utterly terrifying timeline of human history you've probably heard about is actually a massive mathematical error.
Right.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We are so thrilled to have you here with us. Today we're exploring a paradigm shift that is so profound it completely changes how we view our past, our present, and our future.
It really does.
We are talking about the ancient cycles of time known as the Yugas.
It is a genuinely fascinating subject to unpack. Because for a very long time, the prevailing belief in certain historical and philosophical circles has been that humanity is currently trapped at the very beginning of a long, dark age.
Right.
And that things are basically destined to remain fundamentally bleak for an unimaginably long time. But the text we are analyzing today offers a completely different and frankly deeply analytical perspective that just challenges that entire premise.
That is exactly why we are diving into this. Our sources for today are drawn from an incredibly intriguing text that breaks down the concepts presented by Swami Sri Yukteswar Giri
Yes.
in his famous book Kaivalya Darsanam, which is also widely known as the Holy Science.
Exactly.
And our mission for this deep dive is to examine a theory that claims humanity is absolutely not doomed to hundreds of thousands of years of darkness. Instead, the source material argues that we have actually already entered a brand new age of rapid, energetic evolution.
Which, if we follow the logic of the text, completely flips the script on how we're supposed to interpret the world around us today. Because if you just look at the news, it is easy to assume we are in a downward spiral of civilization. But Sri Yukteswar's work suggests the exact opposite is happening on a macro historical level.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because there is a core mystery we need to address right out of the gate.
Right.
If the legendary Dark Age, what is traditionally known as the Kaliyuga, is actually over, why doesn't it feel like we are living in some utopian golden age?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Why is there still so much struggle and global instability?
Yeah.
To understand that, we really have to start by looking at a staggering historical misunderstanding.
We really do. Because to understand where we're going, we first have to understand the timeline we have supposedly been trapped on.
Right.
The common traditional belief regarding the Kali Yuga, which, just for context, is considered the lowest, darkest, most materially dense age of human consciousness.
The absolute bottom.
Exactly. The belief is that it's a cycle lasting 432,000 years.
Wow.
And according to this traditional narrative, we only just started it a few thousand years ago.
So we're just at the start.
Right. People who follow this timeline believe we still have a staggering 427,000 years of darkness left to endure.
Just let that number sink in for a second for anyone listening. 427,000 years left of the worst age possible.
It's heavy.
It sounds exhausting just thinking about it. If you believe that, it would be incredibly hard to wake up with any sense of optimism for the trajectory of humanity.
Absolutely.
You would essentially believe you were born into a cosmic prison sentence, that your descendants wouldn't escape for hundreds of millennia.
And what's fascinating here is how that terrifying number actually came to be.
Yes, this part is wild.
According to the text analyzing Sri Yukteswar's Kaivalya Darsanam, that 432,000-year figure is not a mystical truth. It is a mathematical illusion.
A huge mistake.
It is a historical unit conversion error of epic proportions. Sri Yukteswar points out that the confusion arose during the darkest part of the age, when ancient scholars and astronomers basically lost the true context of their own astronomical formulas.
I want to make sure we get the mechanics of this right, because this is where the text gets incredibly specific. How exactly did a historical scholar accidentally add hundreds of thousands of years to the calendar?
Well, it comes down to the concept of divine years versus human years.
Okay.
Ancient astronomers originally knew that the complete cycle of the yugas was driven by our solar system's movement, and they calculated that grand cycle to be 24,000 years long in total.
Just 24,000.
Right. Within that cycle, the dark age of Kali Yuga was understood to last only 1,200 years.
Okay.
However, in certain ancient Sanskrit texts, a metaphor was used stating that one divine year was equal to 360 human years.
Oh, so they lost the context of the metaphor.
Precisely. During the depths of the Dark Age, when higher astronomical understanding was largely lost, Later scholars took that 1200-year duration of the Kaliyuga and literally multiplied it by 360.
Oh my gosh.
They mistakenly applied the divine year conversion rate to a number that was already in human years.
So they double counted it.
Yes, if you multiply 1200 by 360, you get exactly 432,000.
That is mind-blowing. So it was basically a massive unit conversion error.
Yeah.
Someone multiplied when they shouldn't have, and suddenly all of humanity thought we were doomed for nearly 500,000 years.
Exactly.
It is the historical equivalent of crashing a Mars rover, because one team used metric and the other used imperial.
Yes.
Except in this case, the casualty was human optimism.
That is a very apt comparison. So Sri Yukteswar stepped back and provided a massive correction to this calculation. He brought the focus back to the astronomy.
Right.
He argued that our sun revolves around a dual star, and together they revolve around a grand center of the galaxy. This orbital mechanic creates a 24,000-year cycle. That is the true, manageable length of the entire Yuga cycle.
Which changes everything. Because if the entire cycle is only 24,000 years, then the individual yugas, the specific ages of consciousness within that cycle, cannot possibly last for millions or hundreds of thousands of years.
And this leads to the most surprising fact in the source material. By stripping away that 360 multiplier error, Sri Yukteswar revealed that the Kali Yuga, the true Dark Age, was indeed only 1,200 years long in total.
Just 1,200 years.
Yes, and perhaps the most crucial piece of information for you listening right now. That 1,200-year Dark Age actually ended around the year 1700 AD.
Just imagine the relief of finding that out.
Oh, I know.
Think about it. You missed the absolute worst of the cosmic dark ages by over 300 years. We are not staring down the barrel of endless darkness. We are already in the rearview mirror of it.
Yeah.
The year 1700 AD was the official cutoff point.
It fundamentally changes your orientation to historical reality. Instead of bracing for an inevitable, prolonged decline into ignorance, you realize that the foundation of our current era is actually built on a recently completed cycle of extreme limitation.
Right.
We are standing at the starting line of something new, not the bottom of the pit. But that does bring us back to the primary friction point you mentioned earlier.
Right. And it's the question I would be screaming at my device right now if I were listening.
Go for it.
Wait a minute. If the Dark Age of Kali Yuga officially wrapped up in 1700, shouldn't we have immediately entered Satya Yuga?
Right.
Because Satya Yuga is heavily documented in these texts as the fabled golden age of truth and perfect enlightenment. Why didn't the world just instantly become a utopian paradise the moment the clock struck 1701?
Yeah.
The text says we went into Dwapara Yuga instead. Why the stepping stone?
This is where Sri Yukteswar's concept of natural evolution, or gradual energetic development, comes into play. The universe doesn't deal in sudden, jarring switches from absolute darkness to absolute perfection.
It's not a light switch.
Exactly. It works through natural cycles of gradual transition. To explain this, Sri Yukteswar divided that 24,000-year time cycle into two distinct halves.
All right.
A 12,000-year descending arc and a 12,000-year ascending arc.
So we're talking about a 12,000-year slow slide down into the depths of darkness, followed by a 12,000-year gradual climb back into the light.
Exactly.
While reading the source, I was trying to visualize this, and I kept coming back to the cycle of a single day.
Oh yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
After the deepest, darkest, coldest part of the night, the midday sun doesn't just suddenly switch on and blind you.
Right.
You don't go from pitch black to high noon in 1 second. First, you get the gradual, subtle light of dawn. The darkness slowly breaks. Is that the kind of framework Sri Yukteswar is using here?
That is the exact parallel the text draws upon. At the very bottom of that 24,000-year cycle, humanity hit the absolute lowest point of collective consciousness and energetic awareness.
Right.
That was the depth of the Kali Yuga. We were at the furthest possible point from the grand galactic center, meaning we were at our lowest spiritual and energetic capacity.
The midnight of this cycle.
Yes, but once you hit the absolute bottom, there's only one direction left to go. We are now officially on the ascending return journey.
We've officially started the 12,000-year climb upward.
Correct. So after the lowest point of Kali Yuga, we don't jump straight to the zenith of the Golden Age. We move into ascending Dwapara Yuga.
Okay.
Once we complete the thousands of years of Dwapara, we will gradually transition into ascending Treta Yuga. And only after that prolonged period of development do we finally reach the peak, the Golden Age of ascending Satya Yuga. It is a rigorous step-by-step process of reawakening our inherent capacities.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because we need to define what age we're actually sitting in right now. What actually is Dwapara Yuga?
Right.
Because if we are navigating it today, you and I need to know the rules of the game we are playing.
Absolutely.
According to the text, Dwapara Yuga is defined as the era where humans finally break through the heavy limits of matter and begin to truly understand and harness energy.
This represents a profound shift in the human psychological and scientific mindset. During the dark age of Kaliyuga, human understanding was incredibly dense. It was bound by strictly material frameworks.
Very limited.
The source notes that to a Kaliyuga mind, reality was entirely physical. It was a very limited, confined way of experiencing the universe, where concepts were limited to what could be physically dominated or hoarded.
We could almost map that onto the limitations of classical Newtonian physics.
Oh, completely.
During that dark age mentality, if a thing didn't have physical mass, if you couldn't drop it on your foot, it practically didn't exist. It didn't matter.
Right.
But Dwapara Yuga seems to align almost perfectly with our eventual discovery of quantum mechanics, where we realize that at a fundamental level, solid matter is mostly an illusion. Everything is just interacting fields of vibration.
Yeah.
We stop looking just at the physical mud, and we start looking at the invisible forces and frequencies moving the mud.
That is a brilliant way to contextualize it for the modern listener. And if we look at the historical evidence, the timeline of our scientific discoveries aligns with Sri Yukteswar's calculated timeline in a way that is almost chillingly precise.
It really is.
Remember, he calculated that the Kali Yuga ended and the transitional dawn of the Dwapara Yuga began right around 1700 AD. Now look at human history immediately following that exact century.
Right. After thousands of years of relying mostly on physical muscle, animal labor, and basic levers,
Yes.
which is the ultimate matter-based existence, the dam suddenly breaks. We get the Industrial Revolution. We see the invention of the steam engine, which is humans learning to harness invisible pressure and heat.
Exactly.
Then the telegraph, where we figure out how to send invisible messages over copper wires, effectively shrinking geographical space.
And then the absolute game changer for the Dwapara Yuga, the mastery of electricity.
The big one.
We tap into the electromagnetic force. We go from literal horse-drawn carts to lighting up entire continents with invisible currents of energy in the blink of a cosmic eye.
It's incredible.
It perfectly maps onto the source material's definition of Dwapara Yuga, the transition from limiting matter to expansive energy. And the acceleration curve of this energetic mastery just keeps getting steeper.
While reading the source, I was thinking about this very audio track you are listening to right now.
Oh, that's a great example.
Think about the mechanics of a deep dive like this. My voice is being encoded into digital data, beamed invisibly through the air via wireless communication, bouncing off cell towers or satellites in low Earth orbit, and then being decoded instantly by a small piece of glass and rare earth metals in your pocket.
It's wild.
I have to imagine that to a Kali Yuga mind, this isn't just advanced science, it's outright inexplicable magic. Is this exactly the kind of energy shift Sri Yukteswar is talking about?
It is the ultimate manifestation of it. And it extends even further into atomic energy, where we quite literally break apart the fundamental building blocks of physical matter to release the massive invisible forces trapped inside.
Right.
We are literally breaking the limits of matter, just as the text said we would.
Right.
The internet itself is a vast invisible web connecting human consciousness globally, completely annihilating the Kali Yuga constraints of distance and physical separation.
We are swimming in vibration and frequency.
Yes, we are.
It's undeniable when you frame it that way. We aren't just using slightly better physical tools, we are operating entirely within a new paradigm of physics and collective consciousness.
Exactly.
But let me play devil's advocate here for a minute.
Okay, go for it.
Because looking at the world today, this grand upward swing feels incredibly hard to believe for a lot of people.
That is a very fair critique to bring to the table.
We have escalating global conflicts,
Yeah.
severe environmental crises,
Okay.
and a massive widespread collapse of trust in our basic institutions. People are stressed, and systems seem to be breaking down under their own weight. How does the source text justify calling this an ascending age when things feel so objectively unstable? If we are waking up from the dark age, why does society feel so chaotic?
This is perhaps the most vital and nuanced point the source text makes regarding our current everyday experience. The societal chaos we are witnessing right now isn't a sign that humanity is falling apart or failing. Rather, it is the intense, unavoidable friction of transition.
Friction between the two ages.
Exactly.
Right.
Think about the dominant frameworks of the Kali Yuga. Heavy materialism, viewing the world as a zero-sum game of physical resources, hoarding power through centralized, dense bureaucracies.
Right.
Those habits are deeply ingrained in our global institutions and our collective human psyche. They have been the absolute rule of law for over a millennium.
Yeah.
Now, as the new decentralized high-frequency energy of the Dwapara Yuga surges into our reality, those old, rigid structures simply cannot handle the current.
It's like trying to plug a massive high-voltage modern appliance into a dusty 300-year-old electrical socket.
Yes.
There are going to be massive sparks. The old wiring is going to melt down. That friction, that visceral conflict between the old way of heavy centralized matter and the new way of subtle decentralized energy is exactly what we are watching on the evening news every single night.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. It is an upward struggle, not a downward spiral. The breaking down of these old restrictive paradigms, the institutional collapse you mentioned, is actually a necessary feature of the evolution, not a bug.
Wow.
The old matter-bound structures have to collapse under their own weight so that new systems based on a deeper understanding of energy, global connection, and vibration can be built in their place.
So when we see chaos in the geopolitical or financial spheres, we shouldn't instinctively view it as the end of the world. We should view it as a painful but necessary renovation. We are gutting the old house to put in better wiring. And that means this entire theory, this grand paradigm shift regarding the Yugas, should not inspire existential dread. It should inspire immense, profound hope for the future.
That is the ultimate enduring takeaway from Kaivalya Darsanam, according to our source text. We are definitively moving towards upliftment. The collective consciousness of humanity is actively developing and expanding its capacity, even when the growing pains feel incredibly uncomfortable.
The text shares this really powerful, almost poetic metaphor to describe this psychological process. It says that right now the shadow of ignorance is shrinking, and the me, which represents the self-light, the inner illumination of consciousness, is steadily growing.
I think that metaphor captures the internal essence of the Dwapara Yuga beautifully. The heavy shadow of the material dark age is slowly losing its grip on our minds, and the light of true, energetic self-awareness is getting brighter. The global friction we feel is just the shadow fighting back as it shrinks.
So what does this all mean? It means we can collectively let go of the paralyzing fear of being trapped in an endless dark age. The universe isn't out to punish humanity for the next 400,000 years. Time, as it turns out, is actually on our side.
Absolutely.
We are definitively on the upward swing. Our collective human consciousness is actively developing. The challenge and the true opportunity for anyone listening is simply to align ourselves with this new energetic era. We have to consciously let go of the heavy, zero-sum, mud and stone mentality and embrace the vibration and frequency of where we are collectively heading.
Which leaves us with a truly astonishing final implication to consider, something that extends far beyond just our technology.
Okay.
If our technological and scientific capabilities are intimately tied to these energetic ages, as Sri Yukteswar suggests, then what happens to our actual biology and cognitive limits as we move deeper into the ascendant arc?
Oh, wow.
If Dwapara Yuga is just about mastering external energy, what happens when we reach ascending Trita or Satyuga? Will the human lifespan naturally expand to hundreds of years as we learn to perfectly manage cellular energy and entropy?
That's fascinating.
Will we develop entirely new senses or capabilities like telepathy, rendering physical technology completely obsolete? We are so focused on the evolution of our machines, but the ultimate frontier of the coming ages might be the unimaginable evolution of the human form itself.
Wow. That is an incredible paradigm to leave on. The idea that our biology itself might just be waiting for the right energetic weather to bloom into something completely unrecognizable. We want to thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. It has been a truly mind-expanding journey through the Yugas. We invite you to keep questioning the historical narratives you've been handed, keep learning about these incredible ancient insights, and above all, keep elevating your own consciousness. Align with that upward swing. Until next time, take care.